This is episode 98, Figuring Shit Out. You already know what's going on. Bunny Flock's here. King Arthur may or may not be able to join us. He's a little busy right now, but he may be able to jump on. So if another box pops open, that's going to be him. So don't fret. But this is going to be a super dope episode. Again, this is Figuring Shit Out, episode 98. We got Echo the Truth on. He is a myth, legend, growing the XRP community, growing the crypto community. You probably seen him on TikTok. You've seen him on Instagram. You've seen him on Twitter. You've seen him in a documentary, Rig from the Start. So we're going to talk about that. So again, appreciate you, Echo, for coming on. This is going to be super dope. Quick question, our onboarding question, so to speak, is what was your figuring shit out moment? So any moment, any time in your life, you had an epiphany, you figured some shit out, you got some downloads for the universe, and your worldview changed. Do you have something for us you can share?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, I'm very blessed for the opportunity that I have right now in my life, and I've learned like everything that I've done to, all the obstacles that God put in front of me, I had to learn on my own, right? And it helped me get to where I am right now within the crypto and blockchain space, right? And every single piece of information I know, whether it's, surviving the 2008 market collapse and my
Mhm.
parents and our family lost our restaurant and, we were actually homeless. We really became homeless. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Figuring that out, how to come back from that, when my dad left our family and just left us for dead,
Right.
and
Yeah.
just, being able to get out of that situation or even trying to figure out how to get out of a dangerous relationship with former partners that, that just drain you dry when it comes to your finances because you have that mental mindset of being able to grind, right?
Right.
But you're so in love, you're married to this individual that it's one of the hardest things you ever had to do, but you had to try to figure it out for the best of your ability, not for yourself but for your kids, right? And then come back from that, and win, you know
Right.
some of the hardest times in life. Then it brings me to situations like this. So I'm blessed that the universe did download with me with all the lessons I've ever had to learn, being a mortgage banker, right?
Mhm.
Solving problems, because that's what I am. I'm a natural problem solver, right? Do I
Right.
know the question? Do I know the answers to everything? No, but for
Right.
the
Right.
most part, I'm gonna do everything I can to find the answer.
Right. Facts. And that takes a lot of moxie, right? Like, 'cause we're all humans. We're imperfect. We all have our struggles, but it's not
Absolutely.
really about um when you fall or when you have hard times. It's how you get back up and the lesson you take from that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, granted, there's a lot of people out there going through many different things, many different struggles. But it's really how you combat that, how you come back, how do you learn, and how do you keep pushing forward? You know what I'm saying? So that's super dope. Really quick, if we could jump into how you got into crypto. When did you discover crypto? When you first jumped in, how did you feel about it? And what was the first coins you started investing in?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, the first time I ever got exposure to crypto was back in the last bull run. It was
Hmm.
right before Ethereum ripped. And
So like
I
2017.
2020
Okay.
is when I got in, right? And it was right before Ethereum ripped. And I took what I made in the mortgage because I bet it on because I was working for the mortgage industry at the time. So I put money into the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac stocks, right? Because they
Hmm.
were so low. And I was like, okay, well, these are, federally, back housing, programs, they're government, right? They're these bonds, eventually they're going to go back up, right? From the
Right, right.
2008 market collapse. So I made a little good change on that. And I was like, well, you want to know what? I'm going to rotate my funds. And I heard about Bitcoin, right? So
Hmm.
then I was like, well, what's Ethereum? Well, let me put some money into Ethereum. Holy crap, homie. That was
Hmm.
a freaking rush of a lifetime, because I caught that sucker at like $200, right? And
Wow.
so I was riding that wave, but as I rode that wave, because it literally went from 200 to 1,000, it just kept on going. I was like, what is this thing? So it
Right.
made me start questioning like what was Ethereum, okay?
Hmm.
And I started utilizing the network then. Like I was
Right,
like,
right.
oh, what's a MetaMask? Oh, okay, this
Right.
is what a MetaMask is. Okay. Holy crap, what's all these other crypto, all these other coins, right? I'm like, So I started playing around, then it started opening me up to what the possibilities of what cryptocurrency, digital assets are, what the utility aspect was. At the time,
Okay.
I didn't know what the utility was. I was just learning about, hey, there's this digital asset and it's just rising in value. It just won't stop.
So you
And
you came
so,
in at a good time. You might have lucked out because most people's first initial time is not positive. Speaking for myself, so I got in 2017, going
okay.
into 2018, and if you remember, well, at the end of 2017, Bitcoin kind of blew up. I think it was around the time where it got into the thousands, and
Hmm.
then maybe I think it topped off at like 19 or 20,000. So I got in right before then. But then 2018 came, it was like January 2018, right after the holidays or the end of December, and it tanked. It cut right in half. It went from 20 down to like 10. And that was like my first couple of months in there. And from that moment, I started cursing. I cursed crypto for like 3, 4, 5 years after that. I have recently now just started getting back into crypto as of the past couple of years. But 2017, it didn't ruin me, but I was very, what should I say? I was butthurt by what happened with Bitcoin cut in half. I had Ethereum, I had Litecoin, there were some others at the time. And I panicked, and I was brand new to this, right? Panic sold everything, lost money. And I kind of frowned upon crypto ever since up until like maybe 2 years ago. So it seems like you came in at a great time to
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
some
Well,
funds.
my story is not as happy as that sounds, right?
Right,
It actually because I'm utilizing the network and I was making my money within the network, right? Like or more so like experimenting with the network itself, right? Like decentralized finance on the Ethereum ecosystem, what
right, right.
Polygon was, other blockchains, right? I got overexposed, right? And then
Oh,
when I got overexposed as well, right, I was now I did take what you would call profits, right? But not necessarily how you would think about profits in a way of your I guess the normal person's reality rather than hey, just blockchain Web3 type base, right?
right, right,
I
right.
actually so whenever I made made a lot of my money, I just moved it over to DeFi and then I
Okay.
leveraged DeFi into a stable coin. And this stable coin was actually USDT Tether,
Hmm.
right? Well, not Tether, Terra Luna stablecoin because I was paying out in 20% APY. So I
Okay.
was borrowing against my crypto, okay, leveraging against it, and I was only paying a small fraction of interest. I think it was like a few percent, right? And I
Right.
was taking that, putting it into a stable coin, and then bringing it over to another network and staking it, thinking that hey, the
Ah,
stable coins were going to be straight,
right,
bro.
right, right.
Oh, gravy. Man, I never lost $500,000 so fast in my life, bro. Like,
Right,
because everybody already knows what happened to Terra Luna.
right, right,
So
right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So I got liquidated. From there, I got liquidated from the stable coin. Then I got liquidated from DeFi, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is that as scary as that is, I never stopped.
Yeah. So you
I
handled it differently than I did.
Oh, hey, there was
For
a few
sure.
months where I was freaking like, I looked at my portfolio. I do not get, but I was blessed because I was exposed in all these other blockchains, right? Because I
Hmm.
was like, oh, I want to learn about this blockchain. I want to learn about this one. I always had my bag of XRP, right? Because I always had a bag of
Hmm.
XRP and I never
Hmm.
touched it. So as I was exploring around and learning about the pros and cons to all these networks, even though I got liquidated, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I figured out like why XRP was so important or XLM too, because I helped have my bags. All my ISO bags, I was good. It's all the other ones that I
Right,
got wrecked on,
right.
right?
Makes
But
sense.
because I held on to those bags, and then I started exploring. My thing was like, okay, well, I experienced Ethereum and the high gas fees, right?
Oh my
Freaking
God, the
NFTs
worst.
will
I
wreck
have
me. Yeah,
nightmares. I still have nightmares
bro,
to this day.
bro,
And I don't
they're
know why I paid those. I had some gas fees, I paid them, and I look back like why did I even do that? But it's just one of those things.
hey man, we get caught up in the hype. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I
Yeah.
paid $1,000 gas fee for freaking NFT that went to zero. I'm like, hey, you live and you learn.
Yep.
That's all
I
it
did.
is. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? This is the wild, wild west. But for the most part, again, as bad as that sounds, I never stopped. And I always heard the concept of like, if you get in with the community, right, that and you're able to get in early, then you're able not to only just help build, but you're able to get in on the floor and the ground level. And that's what I was like, because everybody's always asking, like, oh, how do you get that 100x crypto? How do you get that, 1,000x crypto? Well, that's how you get it, right?
Right.
You got to be within the community. Now, there's thousands of communities out there. You just have to, you're basically taking your money or whatever, your wealth, and you're betting it, again, you're betting it on the community, right? And if you're in that community, then, obviously you can see where it direction is going to go to and envision what it
Right.
could be
And
one day.
hopefully stay consistent, right? Because stay
Correct.
consistent in the community, talk with the people, and also just, invest over time. But there's a lot of meme coin action, now especially. There's been a lot of rug pulls. We had the Hawk Tool girl a week ago or so. There's still a lot of, I'll say, negative press on crypto in general for those reasons. You know what I'm saying? So like I guess if someone were to ask you for advice on how to vet a community or how to vet a project, um, what advice would you have for that? What is your vetting process to fill out what's potential, rug pull or what actually has real utility or a real community?
I guess I would first say, obviously learning about the tokenomics of a project is very important, will be key number one, 101, right? White
Hmm.
paper, tokenomics, doing your due diligence on the project and stuff, because that will help prevent, you know, I would say at least 50% of rug pulls, right? Just right there alone. I
Right.
mean, if not more, right? But just having known the white paper, the tokenomics, and the website, right? Then you can go further into it. Okay, well, go to the community, Telegram, Discord, right? Get involved, right? Then you can start determining, like, determining more conviction into
Hmm.
because you're investing into a product, right? The product is the community,
Hmm.
right? So, the more engaged you are, the more you see more engagement, then you're able to gauge, okay, what direction they're going to be going to, right? Or how strong the community is. This also goes for just projects in general, right? Not even just meme that you can use that concept, what I just said, to meme coins, but you can also do it toward just major projects as well. Because honestly, to be honest with you, meme coins are these meme coins, as silly as they are, right?
Hmm.
They are the ones that create these massive projects eventually over time.
Right, right.
People don't understand that.
Hmm.
And the real reality is that communities create innovation, communities come up with ideas that create innovation, right?
Facts.
And, some of the craziest ideas can be born out of these small communities, right? A lot of these blockchain projects come from small communities, but people don't realize that.
Hmm.
They started out as just a small community, right? And then their
Right.
ideas just start trickling down more and more and more, right? But we're still at the infant stages of it all, that there's, all these other communities out there, now, me again, meme coins, for me, I love meme coins, right? Because it gives that be the it enables the free market to determine what the value of a community really is worth.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
yeah, so yes, are there going to be people that unfortunately, can't control their urges to, over
Create a
bet and
coin,
whatnot? Yes,
pull in
unfortunately.
2 minutes. They see it spike up and then pull it in 2 minutes. Like there's been a
Ye-
lot of that, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, so one thing, like, for me, like, for again, I like meme coins because of that exposure it gives for the community. Now people do have to make their own, they have to be careful on, what they do. So it's not meant for everyone, right?
mhm.
Don't go in if you don't have 100% conviction knowing that, hey, I'm not gonna get rug pulled, like, what you're doing, then don't go in. Why are you playing with the water for? If you are gonna play, treat it like it's a casino, because we're still
Right.
Wild West.
And that's the other thing I don't understand. When it comes to gambling, not to say that this is all gambling, but there's a general rule when it comes to gambling, and you hear it all the time, is don't put in what you can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You hear these horror stories of people mortgaging their houses, dumping their savings, selling all their physical assets or whatever, and like throwing all into. And then you hear things about the Hawk Tool, right? And I think most of them are fake. They're just engagement baiting on Twitter or whatever. But you see these stories of I mortgaged my house. I put everything into a Hawk tool, and she rugged me. And then you think like, I'm thinking like, is that what you deserve? Did you deserve that? What were you doing? What were you thinking? What did you think that was going to turn into? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, never put in what you can't afford to lose. And that's just like a general rule in any kind of investment, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, it's speculative betting, that's all it
Hmm.
is. It's speculative betting, right? The more conviction you have for a project or something, then yeah. Again, I mean, look, anybody that didn't expect what Hawk Tuah was gonna do, then I mean, you're new to crypto. I'm sorry, but not sorry. I'm over here like, yo, I was sitting there like, yeah, there's gonna be a good rug right here. I
Yeah,
didn't get in on it because I was like, man, I don't mess with that. I'm like, yo, bro, nope.
you could tell. Yeah, some people they influence. They get their 15 minutes of fame. I know back in the NFT days, there was a lot of social media influencers jumping into
Mhm.
NFTs, creating a project, busting out 10,000 different variations of an NFT, and then watching it explode. It's just a game, but it's just.
And it would like NFTs. I love the concept of NFTs. I love the concept of being able to have a token, a sovereign token, right, in a
Mhm.
community, right. So you're not based off of the U.S. dollar itself. You have your own sovereign currency for your own community. I love that idea, right. The problem is that you have to be able to structuralize that in a way that suits the economy for that set community. That's
Mhm.
what a lot of these like people that just create NFTs and just do a rug pull on. It's like, no, the NFTs, and yes, there will be NFTs that are worth money because of art, right? But
Right.
the NFTs can be used for so many more things. This is where utility is going to come in. And I'm telling y'all that utility is coming in next, right?
Right.
This up 2025 is the utility bull run for everything, whether it's NFTs, whether it's digital assets, whether it's precious metals and what precious metals are used
Ugh.
for.
Right.
As a utility, 2025 will be the kickstart of the massive utility bull run that we will have, and it will be, in my opinion, a super cycle.
No, that's a fact, and I believe that. So I want to jump into XRP, but I want to touch on silver just a little bit. Silver and
Okay.
gold, precious metals. What did you learn about precious metals when you first learned about perhaps the suppression of the silver price, suppression of gold, the true value of it, and the whole Federal Reserve thing where, in the 70s they took us off the gold standard, they just started printing money. What was your initial reaction when you learned that?
Man, when I learned that, it's like because I learned it in
Hmm.
such a short period of time,
Hmm.
right? Like very short period of time, and I was able to tie it in with my own like family line, right? Because that's how my family came from Vietnam, and my grandmother
Okay.
she was living with me at the time here. It was a couple years ago, right? And although I already knew about the concept of what happened back in 71 with gold, what really struck me was whenever I learned about like my grandmother, she was told by her father not to trust the central banks, right? And they,
Ooh.
this is why Asian people they have gold, right? Well, her father, my great grandfather, when I he told her to take a little bit of her money and turn it into gold, right? And this was the Vietnamese dong at the time, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay, well, during the Vietnamese War, the Vietnam War, the currency collapsed. And my grandmother was telling me the story. We're here on the couch, and she was like, she was letting me know that as scary she envisioned this and made me envision it. She's like, imagine we just went out and then you just see everybody running to the bank trying to grab their cash out, but money's just everywhere. She's
And
like,
it
that
don't
was
matter.
how it was then there. And
Wow.
she's like, the only people, and there was a war happening. She's like, the only people you could either wait to get refugees or you can be put refugees or you can get paid to get on this expedited like sail ship boat, right? Basically
Hmm.
more up. I mean, you're not stuck in this freaking a ship. I mean, you're stuck on a ship, but it's not like a refugee ship, right?
Right,
But
right, right.
she was able to get her and her kids, which are six. My dad, along with my five of his siblings. Okay,
Hmm.
his oldest sibling couldn't come because she didn't have enough to leave her. She had to leave her there, unfortunately.
Hmm.
So she did tell me that, and that's how she was able to get everybody over here to the United States.
So she
But
used she
because
exchanged the
having
gold for
gold,
that? Gold.
yes.
Wow. No, that's
Hmm.
huge. And she just got that warning like pretty prior to that.
No, no, my grandfather, this was when she was young, when she was like she was younger. My
Okay.
grandfather always reminded her not to trust the central bank because my grandmother, whenever she would come here, right, she's on Social Security. As soon as she got paid from Social Security, she was like, "Will, take me to the bank right now. I gotta take money out. I gotta take it all out." I'm like, "What?" And she's
Yeah,
like, "Because of the bank runs that she envisioned back in Vietnam, that the currency
that's
collapsed."
and it's crazy. There's a crazy parallel with that story and what people are theorizing, sort of blackpilling to be happening today, right? We know inflation's been crazy. There's talk of the dollar crashing. There's talk of the dollar just losing all its power. We got the BRICS over there doing their thing. And so there's also these fears today, right, with the dollar crashing. And then what system or how can we, what interim financial system can we use before we get to or move to whatever new thing is awaiting all of us, right? So let me ask you this. Do you think, and you could be black pill, you could be positive or whatever. Do you think that we will experience in the coming future a crash of the dollar, like a black pill, black swan event for real? Or do you think, a lot of that's just FUD and it's really gonna be a more positive transition into a different system?
So I like to tell people that, or I like, okay, so is there going to be a crash? Um, yes, but I think it's going to be a crash in a different way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything has to move from wealth has to move from one place to another. It got to shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the concept of is everything going to go to a zero? I don't think everything's going to go to a zero. I think all this value is going to move somewhere else, right?
Like
Whether
energy transfer.
it's a yes, and will there be market that collapse? I mean, the ones that are meant to collapse, yes, right? The ones
Mhm.
that are highly over leveraged, right? The ones because when you're switching from, let's just say, for example, the derivative market, right? The derivative market is highly over leveraged, it's highly manipulated and whatnot, right? Well, whenever you're switching the derivative market from what it is right now over to this technology that is going to be able to release that suppression, you have all these over leveraged companies, corporations, and everything that essentially that didn't strategize and balance itself out for this impending collapse of
Mhm.
that area, then yes, they will get liquidated. So anybody that has funds in that will be essentially hurt by it, right?
Right.
But on the other side, because of how fast it's shifting, it's going to release that suppression of these certain assets. Let's just say silver and gold and stuff, whatnot, right? Those assets are going to move, go up, right? So you're going
Right.
to have things that go zero, things that go up. So when we're talking about the U.S. dollar per se, I mean, the US dollar's already crashed. I'll say, bro.
It
This
just
thing,
it feels like that.
yeah. I mean, you look around, you're like, dang, bro. I mean, I swear, bananas were like 4 times cheaper, not even a couple years ago.
Right. And if you look at housing, like I think that's a huge indicator. Like me and my wife, we bought a house in 2020. At was it early 20? Yeah, January, February 2020. Right when the
Congratulations.
Thank you, yes. Right when the interest rates were like really low. They did all this economic things. But today, 4 years later, our house is almost double in price. You know what I'm saying? And it's not what that says to me is the dollar became that weak that the house that we bought in 2020 can be double the amount now. Imagine if we were house shopping today, we'd almost be priced out. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's conviction on the dollar, so to speak, and the weakness of it today. And it is where we are right now. So, but I'm an optimist. You know what I'm saying? But you hear certain things. There's those black pill doomsdayers out there that just try to scare people. But it is also I feel like it's better to be safe and to invest in certain type of potentially future assets in the future that are supposed to do good, such as silver. I started stacking silver a couple years ago, and again, like I said, I just started getting back into crypto after my 4 or 5 year hiatus, getting pissed off at Bitcoin back in 2017, 2018. I'm kicking myself now because I re-educated myself. I'm relearning the importance of crypto and what's going on with it. But I also had all that time that I lost that I could have been stacking back in 2017. But I would say I wasn't in a great financial mindset of an investment. I was put money in, pull money out. That's where I was when I first started. And that's why I feel like a lot of people have that
Mhm.
mentality today. When they say, "Oh, I want to put this in," and then it drops or, it fluctuates and then they want to pull out because they panic. But that's because those individuals are valuing the dollar more than the asset that they're investing in. You see what I'm saying? Um,
Absolutely.
so
I feel like,
XRP, yeah,
oh,
XRP is, yeah, I feel like if there's anything you should not be selling right now is XRP. You know what I mean?
yeah. For me, like a lot of people, I don't, you shouldn't treat the digital assets as a stock, right?
Hmm.
You should be stacking them because they have utility in the future. And if you, this is where you have to expand your mind. This is why I keep on talking utility, utility. Because in the future, to use the network, then all of these networks, right? If you think about, you're in a, future version of Tron and you're inside that, network right there, you're gonna pass
That's
those
right.
tollways, right?
Hmm.
And those tollways are gonna cost something. You could be the new oil, you could be the new banker for
Hmm.
that set network, right? And you have to have you have to have that long-term vision of it, right? Like that um innovative vision.
Foresight,
But
right? Foresight.
exactly.
Hmm.
But if you see that, right, because it's not there, it's already written in history. It's already there. They have papers on this going all the way up to 2050, right? Probably further than that. You're right.
Right.
Like what the future technology is going to be about. I can't change that, right?
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to stay optimistic and do everything I can to stay ahead of that. Whatever they put out, I'm going to try to learn so and be ready for it, right? Because, wealth, you can have all the money. A lot of people are going to become very wealthy through this process, right? And some people, a lot of people are going to lose money, but then, how everything is structured in on a back end, everybody's gonna be okay. I'm gonna tell you that
Right.
right. I
Right.
hate to say it
That's
like
how I
that, but
feel.
without having that, like, it'll take up this conversation will go on for many more hours for me to actually help people understand that everything is going to be okay. You got to trust the process, right?
Yep.
But the one that actually betted on these set assets, right? Or digital technology and whatnot, they're going to be the new wealth transfer. They're going to be the new wealthy, right?
Right.
Because they had the consciousness, understanding of, you know, knowing what you hold. Know what you
Right.
hold,
And the foresight. And it's, yeah,
Yes.
that's huge because you think about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the dot-com boom.
Hmm.
In the 90s, the internet was bubbling. We had dial-up. People were just kind of getting involved in computers and buying home computers. And it was sort of like it was not every household had it, but it was sprinkled here and there. Then we hit 2000, we had internet, we had YouTube and all these things. Dot-com bubble, boom, millionaires. I think we're in that stage now. We're in the like the 90s of the crypto space where there's so many more people that have no clue whatsoever, even with all the news, even with all the media, so to speak, a lot of it being negative, of course. But there's so many people that I feel like they're going to miss the wave. It could be 10 years from now, it could be 5 years from now, and they're going to look back and wonder what were they listening to or who were they watching and why they didn't know, right? And it's just one of those things that either you have foresight or you got your mind open to certain avenues of information where you're able to learn something about a potential future, technology. But I feel like if we don't do our thing and share these, talk to people about these things and try to, share the wealth, so to speak, you won't position yourself to be fruitful in the future. You know what I mean? And then you look back and think about, oh, well, my brother knew this or this guy knew that. How come he didn't tell me? Well, maybe you weren't listening because there's a lot of stuff out there. I know we had the 60 Minutes thing with Brad that just dropped a few days ago, and a lot of people were expecting it to be a huge for XRP and for it to explode after that. That didn't pan out because it was like a semi-hit piece, so to speak. How did you feel about it? How did you feel about that 60 minutes? Well, it was more like 13 minutes. How did you feel about that segment with Brad Garlinghouse?
Look, I thought it was going to be much more bullish, but then I should have not thought that way,
Hmm.
right? Because it is 60 minutes and I let the hype get to me, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a very optimistic person.
I was there too. Yeah.
But then Brad came out with a couple days with just yesterday, right? Announcing the release of RLUSD, right? Or
Hmm.
approval of release RLUSD. And that like, it's kind of like me, like although I was caught on the hype, I should have never been like so hyped up on XRP at that, or not hyped up, but I should have never been so hyped up on the 60-minute um episode,
Right.
right? It made me, very happy to hear that, see that how they're constructing this market like buy and sell, right? Because you can see that, the markets can not predict, but the market can control the narrative, help control the narrative, right? And
Hmm.
ROUSD is a big important. And as fast as XRP blew up, I mean, it blew, I mean, we did what, almost 400%
Yeah,
in a
in
couple
like a
weeks?
month, in a month. Yeah,
Yeah, in a
from
month.
after
Yeah.
the election. Yep. No, in
Yeah,
a month and a week now.
yeah, it was crazy. I'm like, holy crap. Well, in that time frame was like 2 weeks. It was so
Yep.
fast, and we have to have time for consolidation, natural consolidation in a market, right? And of course, when you're just on that green candle, you're like, let's go, and you think it's never gonna stop. But
You
I'm
hope it
not gonna
don't
take
stop.
profits right now,
Right,
right? Like
right.
my whole idea is, being able to utilize DeFi, right, to empower and whatnot. But for the most part, whenever he released the RLUSD after simultaneously after that, like I'm over here over on Twitter, you saw it. We were all posting a lock in,
Hmm.
pay or snippet and whatnot. So you can see how engaged the community is, and you can see how massive the XRP army is. Like that right there just tells you that XRP is going to be something. I mean, again, you could bet. I have a variety of different digital assets, but for the most part, XRP is one of the strongest communities out there. It's
It
actually, in my
does.
opinion, it is the strongest community out there
Yeah,
by
we've
far.
been through a lot, and I'll be honest, I wasn't I had XRP early on, but I when Bitcoin pissed me off, I sold everything. I was aware of the lawsuits, and I wasn't how do I say? I wasn't hurt by that the lawsuit hit, what was it like 2017, 2018 when they sued or whatever. So I wasn't
Oh,
necessarily part of
2020.
that 2020. I wasn't part of that. I'm in there now 2 years, 2.5 years. So I'm like a new guy, so to speak, but I know the importance of it now. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm still kicking myself, wishing I never allowed my initial getting hurt to affect how I thought about it. At that moment, I didn't fuck with stocks. I didn't fuck with crypto. I didn't fuck with investments. I was like, you know what? I was just like playing safe. You know what I'm saying? And I know now that that's not the way to build wealth at all. But here we are. So a question for you. Let me ask you, and this could be a soundbite because a lot of people want to know, is it too late? Like right now, today, December 11th, 2024, is it too late to buy XRP now? Did they is it done, or how do you feel about it? What's your response?
No, definitely not. We haven't even started. We're still getting to the start line, y'all.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say that because everybody wants a 50 cent XRP or below $1 XRP. But I'm like, look, yo, how many years was it at below 50 cents?
Too many.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly. So don't complain that y'all didn't stack during that time. Be
Right.
grateful that it's at the price that it is now,
Hmm.
knowing again that foresight, that envision of what is about to happen. Everything, all the conspiracies and stuff like that, all that's going to happen. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that is the solution, right? The whole entire shebang. It will
Hmm.
help power the whole entire world. Will it be the only one? No. We're gonna be going into a multi-asset world, thousands of ecosystems everywhere, right? But for the most part, XRP is going to be one of the main ones. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. It was designed to do that, right? So it's kind of like if you think about that in a grand scheme of how much value is going to be transferred throughout the whole entire world seamlessly, as fast as it is, how much if you think about that, like, and as value continues to grow more, 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 more,
Right.
whether it's adding, you're minting, you're minting real world assets to it and transacting in that way, whether you're
Right.
powering DeFi, right? Whether you're using it for, let's just say right now, right? Where we're using it for payments right now, right? Anything in that matter is going to, explode the network. And where the network is right now at billions of dollars, right? It's not
Right.
even at $1 trillion market cap, right? I don't like to talk about market cap because market cap is to me, it's like, oh yeah,
It's yeah, but a lot of people try to
but
use that too. There's a lot of XRP haters out there, and their number one argument is market cap every time. It's the worst.
absolutely, and that's where people don't understand how to what it the real core concept is value. How do you transfer value, right?
Hmm.
Value can be transferred in hundreds of thousands of different ways, right? You
Right.
know, it's only the only limitation to it is the ability to do it in a fast, cheap, secured, and interoperable manner. If you're able to solve all of those solutions,
No
what is the
gas.
value then? We don't know.
Right.
It's going to be a price discovery, and hey, I know that some people it might sound crazy to to have a possibility of $1,000 XRP, $10,000, $100,000, but who's to say it can't? That's
Right.
what I tell people because we don't
There's
know
many
what the true
people.
value
There's
of things
many people
are.
that there's a lot of people saying that it can't go past $10, but they don't. I guess they don't understand the real utility. Um, and there's people that look at XRP as I'm putting my money in. When it goes up, I'm gonna put my money out, and they use it as a stock, so to
Hey,
speak.
it's okay. And look, to those people that do that, look, um, all power to you, right? Of course, take profits where you need to, right?
Hmm.
Secure your wealth, man. Get the bag, bro. Get the bag.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna tell everybody if I could sit here and say anything to this, you never want to sell your whole entire bag if you do. You
Never. Right.
always have a moon bag. You sell that
Hmm.
whole entire bag, you're gonna be regretting it, homie, because when this thing is gonna go. I mean, I don't know when it's gonna go. I can't say it, but that's what I'm saying. It's like $2, and we haven't even flipped the switch yet. Trump is not even in office yet, yo.
Right.
Imagine when Trump gets into office. Imagine whenever all of these trillions of dollars worth of assets get flipped from all of these institutions, the precious metals market, the DeFi, all of it, right? You're not even unlocking the metaverse yet. The metaverse hasn't even been unlocked. The metaverse has just been that's going
Yeah.
to be a big
It's
driver in the future. We're not even going to talk about that, but that one's another value in itself.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's so many people, me included, can't wait for Gary to get out of there. We thought he was going to get resigned this month, last month. We felt like it was going to happen, and I guess he's doing it January the day before inauguration. He's doing it January 19th. Either way, I'm sure that's going to be huge for crypto in general because he was out there causing chaos.
Yeah,
You know
bro.
what
I mean, the dude, look, man, the dude, he might sound smart, but
I
he
mean?
definitely needs to go. We just need to they're gonna overhaul. You know what I love about this whole entire thing? They're overhauling it in a way that is biblical in a sense
Right,
that they're creating, Doge around it, right?
right,
And
right.
and I love that because look again, even though I talk about XRP a lot, right? Because if I talked about every single cryptocurrency, it'd be crazy what's in my portfolio, right? But there
Hmm.
are core cryptocurrencies and digital assets that I do believe in, right? And I want to make
Hmm.
sure that my audience do, hey, secure a little bit of that bag, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but diversification is key, but having this set asset is definitely important to have. You get what I'm saying?
No, facts.
You never know what's going to happen. So for me, like during the bear market, this past bear market, I was accumulating Doge at 5 cents, eight, nine. I was like, yo,
That's
yeah,
dope.
keep on giving it to me, bro. Because I'm
Let's
like, yo,
go.
bro, I know Elon.
Uh-huh.
Nobody needs to bet against Elon. If you're going to try to bet against Elon, you're going to lose every single time.
Right. So what's up? King Arthur's in the building. He came in.
What up, guys? I'm a little late, but how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Y'all all right?
It's all good. Yeah, we straight.
Good.
We 40
I see
minutes
y'all got
in.
some motion.
You said what?
I see y'all got some motion already.
Oh yeah. We have a dope conversation. So we talked about we covered a lot of things. Talked about XRP, we talked about silver, we talked about just utility in crypto and how a lot of people aren't there's so much more people that have absolutely no idea what's coming. They
Right.
don't even aware of it. They're not invested in it. They think it's fake and phony and all this stuff. Um, I guess we could pick up, or did you have any initial questions, or I guess we could try to work you in.
No, I walk in. I walk in.
Okay. Let me see. Where was I? What was I about to do? We're talking about real USD. Oh yeah. So again, well, let me talk about this. I don't know how you feel about Bitcoin. Because there's also there's a lot of arguments against Bitcoin itself before, because it's slow, it's expensive, there's no real utility. How do you feel about Bitcoin? Do you think there will come a time where Bitcoin will not go to zero, but be not at, not what it is today, and XRP can overtake Bitcoin and become the new Bitcoin? Or do you think there will always be a place for Bitcoin?
Over the years, I've had indifferent questioning about Bitcoin. Like, of
Mm,
course, whenever I got into crypto after getting into Ethereum, I learned about Bitcoin, right? And I became a Bitcoin maxi. But then I had to learn about XRP, and that's where it became kind of like, okay, well, I question Bitcoin and everything around it, right? Because, you have David Schwartz who created, XRP, being the CTO of Ripple,
mm,
him being a former developer of the Bitcoin network, right? And leaving that to create XRP, it kind of like, okay, well, it starts making you question. And you hear everybody start talking about the negative side of Bitcoin, who owns Bitcoin or who really is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? And stuff like that.
right.
Then I think about the general idea of like when it came out, right, in 2009, right? And I was like, man, it couldn't have came out in a perfect time, right? Right after, the 2008 collapse, right? Simultaneously, it's kind of like, it was used to, it was used in its intended purpose, right? So it could help facilitate a wealth transfer because I think about like, okay, well, a lot of these people that got into Bitcoin early, they created these massive companies that help create crypto as it is, whether they created exchanges, created projects or whatever, right? There's
Right.
some people that got in extremely early and just, hey, I'm just going to be super rich. Hey, you're going to have those guys, right? But you're going
Right.
to also have those guys that, hey, I'm going to build, I want to create a better place. I want to create, create innovative products for this, this new set asset and world, right? So, how I see it is that Bitcoin, there are issues with it, but as long as the developers and the community want Bitcoin to stay around, they'll create
Mm,
innovative solutions to try to keep it around, right? Now, technology is not 100% when it comes out. It takes a community to be able to solve and create those innovative solutions. So once upon a time, I had this theory that yes, they could use Bitcoin, or Bitcoin could go to zero, right? But
right.
then I think about like, okay, well, who's building these mining farms out in Texas? And you figure out that, hey, it's Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk. Okay, well, what are they part of? Well, they're part of this whole entire restructuring plan of this whole entire government. Who's bullish on Bitcoin right now? Well, Donald Trump. Who's going to be the next president? Donald Trump, right? And although he did mention that he would use Bitcoin to pay off, strategically pay off the federal or the debt,
That.
right? In my
Mm.
opinion, if whenever they do that, whenever that does happen, it won't be anytime soon, right? Like as
Right.
far as like what I mean by anytime soon, like it will have if they do it, it'll be kind of like it won't be a long-term thing. It'll be more like the short, the midterm to where we're actually needing to go to, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
if the mission is 2050, well, hey man, they're gonna try to pump this sucker all the way to the moon so that it doesn't, so whenever they use to pay off the debt, right? That it won't affect the price of Bitcoin and won't make it so volatile, right?
Right.
That
Right.
it would just go to zero because
So
essentially Bitcoin won't ever go to zero because of the simple fact that there's so many people behind it, so many
that's true.
community members, right? So again, I'm not trying to sit here and say Bitcoin, I'm not trying to be like I am a Bitcoin maxi, but I try to look at the pros and cons to it. And, does it suck to send it across the network? Yeah, absolutely. 4 hours to send a damn freaking some Bitcoin? Nah.
Yeah.
But there are
It's
innovative solutions that come to fix in those problems. And
yeah.
let's just say if Bitcoin does end up riding on the XRP ledger, well,
Hey,
you know what? All that value is going to be transacting on the XRP ledger.
right.
What's the price of the value? What's the market cap of value? Again, we don't know. Hey, I'm
Right.
all game for it.
Now that makes
It's a
sense.
win-win situation then, right?
That makes sense. And Bitcoin is very slow, very costly, and to the environment, for the people that care about the environment, all those server farms, all that mining it takes energy, electricity, and all that. So it is what it is. It's got its pros and cons. Do you think that we will see $1 million Bitcoin?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh shit, I'm gonna get some now.
So
There we
so it
go.
ain't too late to get in
No, no,
Bitcoin.
no. The reason why I say that, okay, it's because strategically, if you're needing to pay off $36 trillion in debt, right?
Mm.
Okay, my mind, how I was thinking, okay, well, if Donald Trump did state that, right? And my mind is okay, well, I want to see how he's going to solve this problem, right?
Hmm.
Well, I'm thinking, okay, well, if you do that, you would have to have a more than $1 million Bitcoin in that case again because
Multi-million dollars.
exactly. Because again, their whole entire how I'm envisioning how they're trying to structure this thing out is that they're eventually going to have to pay off the debt. That's the whole entire master grand plan of this all, right? They already have everything moving over to this new network that's more decentralized and everything, but there's still going to be the debt that's owed. Okay, the debt's going
Right.
to, in our eyes, because we're already here on this new environment, this new world, we won't see that debt anymore, right? But this debt here is still around. It's just on the back end, they're paying it off. We just won't see it. Well, how would they essentially do that? Well, if the concept is that they use Bitcoin to do it, right? Then you would have to you have to send Bitcoin to the freaking moon and more,
It has to be
so again,
millions of
so it doesn't
dollars.
become volatile that
Right.
people will lose money, right? How they handle that, again, up to them. But $1 million Bitcoin, I mean, again, at this moment in time, how I see it, it will happen, right? When will it happen? I don't know, because
Right.
everything is geared and set up for that concept to happen. Now,
Right.
that's not to say that, we won't have a $10,000 XRP. We won't have a
Exactly.
$100,000 XRP, right? So you're obviously, do what you
I'm
do,
betting on
when
that.
it comes to the investment, right? But, you know, again, this is why, like, how I see it is that, whenever there are people that are very, like for example, Michael Saylor, now how he is doing, how he has set up his investment, you know, he set it up very strategically so that, although he's
Hmm.
leveraging against it to buy more Bitcoin, he's doing it in a way that he doesn't that if it gets that he won't be liquidated, right?
Hmm.
So he's stacking it up as it goes up. He will, I mean, as crazy as he sounds, he knows what he's talking about on that end. Right now, again, it, there will be other, digital assets that outperform Bitcoin and have
Right.
already
Right.
outperformed Bitcoin. And
Facts.
that's just where do you want to put your funds at? You
Right.
know.
No, that makes sense. It
Uh,
Go ahead, King.
so no. So what other coins have already outperformed Bitcoin? Because I wouldn't know. I'm not into it. So did y'all guys talk
Oh,
about
okay.
that already?
Yeah, I mean, so like pretty much, I mean, all of the top 10 right now have outperformed Bitcoin this year alone, right?
Hmm.
Even though like XRP, we just did it in November, right?
Right.
We
400%.
outperformed Bitcoin like
Oh,
that,
okay.
H bar, Stellar, yeah. So I mean, because Bitcoin, it went from what was that at the beginning of the year? I can't remember.
60
40.
something.
It might have been 40 or 50, I thought.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
and it's at 100. So you doubled your money, right? Where, XRP we did 400, 300, 400%.
We did 50
Stellar 600.
cent, maybe like 40 cents up to I think 290 at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
290 before it took a tumble.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
so so is Bitcoin just like the first one of the wave? That's why it's so popular and so I guess mainstream because it's like the first one or the main one. Because like
Hmm.
I think you guys have touched on it earlier. Like Bitcoin doesn't have a real utility outside of the store of value, right? Like some of the other coins actually have an actual purpose. So is
Hmm.
that why it's so popular, or
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. So it had that store value cult-like mentality behind it, which works, right? I mean, some people might not like that, but it does. You're gonna have those projects, right? And it's okay, because you have to. What makes gold valuable, right? Not
right.
just because of the utility aspect, but gold is God's money, right? And you have this, the cult-like mindset of people that just, hey, it's gold, it's God's money, it's real money. Yeah, true, right?
I
Same
feel
thing
that
for
way
people
about
that get
silver.
into Bitcoin. What
Hmm.
is Bitcoin? The store value of all cryptocurrencies, the number one, right?
It's the first
Now,
one.
again, short to medium term, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but long term speaking, hey, I believe that XRP, Stellar, and that are going to take the reign, and they're going to be more of a sustainable, because they don't need the reliance of Bitcoin at that moment, right?
Right.
After
And
the
their
wealth, yeah.
yeah, and their utility is so much better. They're faster. It's cheaper. The XRP fees, I mean, you do transaction, you get your fee is like dot 0.00001 XRP is like nothing. You don't feel it. You don't even notice it. You know what I mean? Um, quick question about Ethereum, because so I watched the documentary and there was a good section, a good amount of section on Ethereum and ETH. How do you feel about Ethereum? Could Ethereum potentially go to zero? I know there's a lot of corruption, so to speak, and you know, collaboration with the SEC on trying to, keep XRP suppressed. Do you think Ethereum has real world utility? And if, is it going to be around or is it on its way out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, great question. So, in my opinion, I think that so Ethereum will be around still, right? Or is there corruption? Absolutely, right? 100%. I mean, the documentary plain up straight solid, right?
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, right?
very.
But in my opinion, they did their best they can to try to front run crypto, but
Mhm.
they failed, right?
They pull out all the stops. You could try. They try so hard.
And which should be expected, right? And when you are the one that control the monetary system, you don't want to lose control over it. So you're going to do everything to the bottom of your core to try to maintain control over it.
Infiltrate.
Um, yeah. So, for my opinion, right, I would love not what I love, but I know that some people believe that it would go to zero. The essential part that people need to realize is that Ethereum itself is very massive, and
Hmm.
has a lot of what they call total lock volume inside of DeFi, and their utility of it, of like their smart contract capabilities, all these projects that were built on top of the Ethereum ecosystem, right? And although they can merge over to other ecosystems, right, to doing like bridges and chains and whatnot,
Hmm.
it's so much easier just to keep Ethereum alive, but at kind of like a kind of like, hey, it's running in the background, right? But nobody
Wow.
really uses it, right? But because it's like one of the core main infrastructures for smart contract, and it does still have its utility purpose. It's just like developers they're gonna build on a network like XRP, and they're gonna bridge over to use the smart contracts on Ethereum, but be able to transfer their values through XRP network.
Right.
So again, Ethereum, I believe, is still gonna be around you know,
It's just got a
um,
bad name. It's the redheaded stepchild now. It's just
yeah, it is 100%, right? Now, with that being said, that the price, you know, when we're talking about like prices and how I see it, like again, these utility coins, right? And Ethereum does have utility, right? Because it pays for gas fees for this network. They just strategically set it up that way, right? Strategically, when we
Mhm.
say it. But for in my case, because they are going to be able to utilize these other networks to transact a lot quicker. They just need the smart contracts from the Ethereum ecosystem, and that's all they're gonna need it for. Hey, again, we're just gonna need you. We're just gonna pull you in when we need you. Other than that, you just stay the F over there, right?
Right.
You done burnt all our bridges, right?
Everybody's pissed at you.
Exactly, exactly, right? But again, Ethereum has done a lot for its ecosystem, but also sometimes for me, I feel like that, as much as I do love the documentary, and this is where my, tinfoil hat goes on, and I'm like, hey, probably they just need to do it on purpose because XRP was running wild. I mean, you got to think,
Mhm.
they released XRP when they did, right? XRP would have eaten up the whole entire ecosystem. What I mean by that is that the developers, right? People don't realize but like again, utility is what matters, right? So the Ethereum ecosystem got popped off because of these developers went over to Ethereum instead of going over to XRP, to the XRP
Mhm.
ledger, due to this. Hey, they might be building on a security, so ain't no
Right.
developer going to want to build over there. So they went and built on Ethereum, and they pushed everything to Ethereum. So that's what drove the value and the price of Ethereum up. Same thing for Solana, right? Same thing for all these networks, right?
Hmm.
But you know, because the lawsuit's been lifted, right? You're
Facts.
starting to see the network start to go live on
Mm.
XRP and all these other digital assets too that have been building for the past, since the lawsuit lifted, right?
Hmm.
They've been building for them too, right? But you're starting to see the core retail developers because the ones that I feel like that are pushing the price right now, okay? Not only because of the trading volume, but it's pushing the utility is retail. It's not institutions yet because trust me, you'll know when an
Facts.
institution comes.
Right. Everybody's waiting for that. That's the flip, right? That's the switch is the
Yeah,
flip. The
that
flip.
that's gonna be the omega moment. But this is where you position yourself. You don't
Hmm.
wait for the institution to come in. You don't like you're waiting for that time period, but you're waiting, but you're positioning yourself for that. You're getting to the start line because they're getting to the start line too. By the time the gates open and you're off to the races, you're trying to catch a
It's a
green
wrap.
candle.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
So,
No.
so I got a question because like y'all always talking about institutions, big, big gov into, cryptos and coins or whatever, but isn't that kind of counterintuitive or against what decentralized currency is supposed to be all about? Right? If I'm wrong, right? Isn't it supposed to be just, away from Big Brother, protecting your assets and your transactions so, you don't have to deal with them. So once they get involved, isn't it just kind of the same old situation that we're in now?
So are you talking about like once they come over to the crypto? What?
Once they come over and get control or gain majority over these coins and stuff, isn't it going to be like they still have access to see within, the smart contracts in the ledger as well? Or no.
Well, I mean, it's open source, so you can anybody can see within the ledger, right?
Right.
So you can go on XRPL scans, right, and or XRP scans, and then you can put in a smart contract or a transaction address and or hash, and then you can find out all you need to know, right? From the wallet addresses, right, to how much XRP was spent and whatnot. Very transparent, right? Or if there's any type of contract that's attached to it. Let's just say if you're using like the Ethereum ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
So as far as like them coming back and taking control over the system, this is where I let people know like the XRP ledger, okay? The XRP ledger is the one of it is the most decentralized network out there. Well, actually, one of the most decentralized network. I'm not gonna say it's like, I think it probably is the most decentralized. Cardano's up there too as well, right? With their
Mhm.
proof of stake mechanism that they have with their community. But I always like the XRP Ledger because of how they have their nodes set up and the validators. Because like Bitcoin, you're incentivized to mine Bitcoin, which you're validating the hash and the transactions on the network. Solving these problems, right? Ethereum, you have to have proof of stake, right, in order to validate these nodes. XRP, the XRP ledger, there is no, you're not incentivized to hold a copy of the ledger. Whoever is the validator, you, me, the person down the street, a big corporation, they're doing it because they want to hold the consensus mechanism on the network. They want to hold the structure of it, right? They want to hold the
Mhm.
integrity of it. So they're doing it at no, you're not being incentivized to do it. You're doing it because you want to do it, right?
Mhm.
The David Schwartz says the best incentive the best incentive is no incentive at all.
Right. What about the banks? So you hear, they talk about when it comes to the banks want to hoard it, the banks want to gain control for
Mm.
themselves, right? And they want to push retail out. Is that true? Is that a myth, or is that just FUD that's put out there, for people to feel bad about XRP?
Uh, so this is where I say, the documentary says it best.
Hmm.
As far as do they want retail out? Yes. I mean that you can the XRP documentary, right? Right from the start, definitely tells the story of the certain banks that are involved and that want to maintain control and keep the little man down, right?
Facts.
But no matter what, you can only suppress innovation for so long, and this is where you know now we're starting to reap the rewards of saying of like the diamond handing and buying into this asset at 50 cents, 30 some cents, right? 20 some cents, 10 cents, whatever you bought it in at, right? You're starting to see people are starting to see the reaps of these rewards, right? And it's
Mhm.
only going to expedite from there. So, did they want to try to keep them out? Yes, again, they try to front run crypto, right? And a lot of people made money in the Ethereum ecosystem and whatnot, but the problem is that it was always going to come back, and so the wealth transfer is going to happen, and this is where I think RLUSD plays a real critical role because I know that some people were like, oh, RLUSD is going to be put on both XRP and the Ethereum ecosystem. Why are they doing it on the Ethereum ecosystem? It's supposed to be an XRP, stablecoin, but I'm like, y'all don't understand. That's all that is a liquidity, right? You're
Hmm.
just plugging into their network. So as long as they have a stable coin into their network, okay, you imagine that $47 billion worth of locked liquidity they have in DeFi can flow into the XRP ledger just like that seamlessly through one coin. It's literally you're
Let's go.
it's like you're connecting the hose together.
Right. Exactly.
Liquidity pulls right through. And so when people start getting that understanding, like even if they did front run crypto and they have all that money over there from all those deep from the Ethereum ecosystem, eventually it's going to flow over to the XRP ecosystem or any other ecosystem itself. That is that have been actually building in the past, right? So
Thanks.
they try to front run it, they try to control it, but
Like they always do. They failed miserably, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
big time, big time. And it was going to happen, right? That was the whole concept of creating this type of technology, right? Was to entrap them and get them to basically, you would say, submit, right? Pass the
Relinquish
bar.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Relinquish control and stop the corruption, stop the suppression of the 99%. Like, because we all see it, we all know it's not a myth anymore, it's not conspiracy theory.
No.
And we the people, we tired. We've been tired of this. You know what I'm saying? So,
It's just like when to flip of the switch, right? That it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
right.
So I am partnered with a lot of companies, right? And the company I was having in a meeting with this morning, right,
Oh
gave me
yeah, I saw
some
your
very,
tweet.
huh?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, they
I saw
gave
your
me some.
tweet.
I can't say too much, right? Disclose too much.
Okay,
But what
okay.
they did say is they are precious metals, and they company that deals with the blockchain side of space, right? And they said, and they by January they're gonna, I can disclose this information, right? But what coming out and what they have going into 2025 is going to shock the world, and this is coming from it's coming from a company that was developed by the company that own or that runs the largest bullion exchange in the world. So, with that being
Mm-hmm.
said,
Mm-hmm.
you can connect your own dots, but the largest bullion exchange in the world created this company, right? This company I'm partners with, and they're coming out with a technology that's going to shock the world, that is going to raise the price of both gold and silver at an exponential rate
I
that is
can't
going
wait.
to shock people's faces. So there are many catalysts that could cause this flip of a switch moment, right? And whether it's XRP, RLUSD, whether it's this project, whether it's other projects, there's going to be many flip of the switch moments, and it's not going to be single-handedly one switch. But depending on where you're at or what you have your investment in and where you have your conviction at, that's when you're waiting on your flip of a switch moment, right?
Right.
XRP already had their flip of the switch moment. I called that out. I was like, look, man, the community already flipped the switch. Everybody, that's one of the main switches right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. RLUSD is going to be another switch. That thing's going, man,
Facts.
like, I'm not going to sit there and say this thing's going to go to $100 overnight, but you best believe that, whenever you have a stable coin and it's backed by, you know, treasury bonds, real world assets, it's structured properly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's not volatile, that
Right.
and institutions can actually use and they want to use, right? That there's going to be a lot of influx of liquidity coming into the market. So how did that liquidity flow in? It remains to be seen, right? But going into 2020, we're into 2025 is going to be in my opinion, it's going to be a biblical year, right? A lot of people that weren't paying attention, they're going to obviously start asking more and more questions. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody that is in the tunes of like these digital assets or gold and silver, right? Gold and silver, in my opinion, 2025 is going to be their year as well, right?
Let's
Because I know a
go.
lot of
I'm
people are
with
like,
it.
okay, when is silver going to move? Like, this thing hasn't even busted $50 yet, but what is it? But then I'm over here like, yo, you understand that silver is legitimately God's money, right? Gold and silver has always been God's money, right? You think about that, right? You go back in history about learning, back in, 1793, that was one of the main suppressions of silver, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Coinage Act, right? And instead of go, whenever they went to gold instead of silver, right? And then they just, basically start slashing the prices from there, then start adding these derivative contracts and everything like that. I got a thread on X where people were asking me what the real price of silver is, and I just threw out there my assumption, a price prediction, right? And I was just like, well, based on the contract, at the time, right, which was like, right under 400 paper contracts on each ounce of silver, and how much we have in the world, right? Not how much we have left in the world, but how much we have that we are mined, right?
Right, right.
What the price of silver could be and the valuation because of how much one can leverage up to 100 times in a derivative contract. Okay, based off 1 ounce, it could be anywhere from $12,000 an ounce all the way up to $1.2 million an ounce. Now,
Jesus. That's crazy.
now, it is. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to heck, right?
Hmm.
But when I take all that information and analytics and data and I plugged it into ChatGPT, that's what they gave me.
Mm.
Hmm.
So,
I like the $1 million. That's me
that you,
personally.
and hey, we could. This is the thing. Again, I'm not saying that. I just threw out there what based on the information that I put in, right, try to solve this problem, right. And that's what I do. I do that as well with like XRP and stuff like that too, and just play around with different numbers. But for the most part, when it comes to precious metals, right, 2025 will be that year where the suppression will be released. I know a lot of us that have been holding silver, right, and been stacking, you know, it's kind of like that relief whenever XRP released, right? We're gonna have that release, but I feel like it's gonna be probably 10 times more just because of the simple fact that when they release that top, it ain't coming back down. There's
You
no
can't. Yeah.
you can't. There's no trying to short this thing.
Hmm.
You got to let it naturally progress to its natural price. And if you don't, you're going to get wrecked. So anybody that wants to, when it comes to silver, right? Again, XRP is a completely different story. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Okay. XRP is completely manipulated, bro. Like, anybody knows that, bro. But they
Yeah.
have to do it. They have to do it in a strategistic way, right? Because the network is so quick and so fast. But they're not trying to wreck people, okay? But more so that they have to strategically do this in the appropriate right timing because timing is everything, especially
Right.
right now. Silver itself, they're trying to structure it in a way so that it just doesn't, that whenever they release this top of precious metals, in my opinion, that it's going to also appreciate everything else as well, right? Because
Right.
whenever they lift that veil of silver, I mean,
And there's a lot of yeah, and there's a lot of technologies, batteries, cars. There's a huge silver market, and it's going to affect all that as well. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
You think about like the future of AI, right? Solar, right? You think about how we don't have enough silver in this world right now. I think the last thing I've read was like we don't have enough silver in this world on its current pace right now for all the solar panels and everything we need for batteries and everything to last us until 2026, right? So
Jesus.
if they were to buy all that back from what they call the COMEX, right? The physical.
Hmm.
Okay. So we have to do something quick. And that's why I say 2025 is the year, right? Like I'm like if they
Buy it
have this
from me. Buy it from me $1 million an ounce. Bro, I got some.
I got a
I won't
few
give
to
you
come.
all.
Yeah.
I won't sell it all. Um,
never sell your whole bag. Remember, always keep a moon bag.
no,
That's right.
that's the bar.
Always keep a moon bag, yo.
That is facts. King, did you have a closeout question? Or were you trying to ask something else?
Nah, man, I'm just in a stuck up game because, like I said, I'm not the biggest. I just be kicking myself because somebody told me Bitcoin was 75 cents, bro, get in. But again, back then I wasn't able to put $100 nowhere.
Mhm.
I didn't know about a ledger. I didn't know about a smart contract. I didn't. He was telling me that, and I was like, bro, like, what are you talking about, dog? Let's go hoop or something. Let's go play a video game. Right
Hmm.
here we
Mhm.
are, 10 years later, 12 years later, and it's like, bro, 75 cents. You could have
Yeah.
quit everything. Right? You could have walked
No.
away. You know what I'm talking about? So
But
I'm just stuck in that game and
XRP,
learning.
yeah, XRP is only $2 now. So you
Yeah. I got something at about 40 cents, so I'm in there.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Like I keep on telling people like don't kick yourself, because again, we haven't even started this bull run. I know it's been crazy, right? But January 20 has not happened yet. And when that happens, this is when everything is going to be unleashed, right? Because you can go down the conspiracy route of like learning what Ripple really is, who they're tied with, right? It's not a
Right.
given secret, and if you tap into understanding that the monetary system is going to shift, right? And as conspiratorial as that sounds, it's gonna be this shift. Like it's gonna have, out of every other evidence, this is the one that makes sense. And
Hmm.
if don't they, I encourage everyone to do their own research because that's the only way that they have their conviction, right? They can listen to me, and I know I'm a very convincing person. I'm a very influential person, right? But the only reason why is because I took the time to
Teach
gain
yourself.
the
Yeah.
knowledge to do the research, right? And although there are, I listened to a lot of YouTubers and people that did interviews and podcasts, right? I took all of that and formulated my own decision and own basings, and that would gave me my conviction of like why I'm all in. Like, dude, the only
Facts.
dollars I have, I'm not even lying to you, is just to pay, my mortgage because my mortgage won't accept cryptocurrency. But pretty much anything else, bro, everything else, I'm living off crypto, homie. Like for real,
I
for
feel
real.
you.
Like my strategy is, hey, I'm trying to get out of the system. That's the whole. Hey, the mission is to get to the ledger, right? How you get to it, it don't matter. Just get to it, you know?
Right.
Right.
I wouldn't even pay bills with crypto, even if I had, because you're giving them those tokens. You know what I'm saying? Like all these companies that accept it, that's cool. But I'm like, I'll hold my XRP. You can take this fiat. I'll pay you for that. Because Lord knows, if I give you this XRP and it blows up, now you got that, and I don't have it. You know what I'm saying?
I like
Absolutely.
the dude paid for a piece of the Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Motherfucker
Right.
kicking himself.
$2 million slice of pizza.
Jesus.
See, this is one thing too. I want to let your audience know. It's like this is where not just doing your research, like you're just doing your research, but never stop learning, right?
Always.
Even whenever you feel like that you gain enough knowledge about XRP or any of these digital assets that okay that you bought into it, right? But learning how the technology functions. So what I mean by that is that on the XRP ledger, right, they have a built-on DEX, which is which is the only digital asset that has this, right? That's built on DEX. And what makes it that much more powerful is that you can utilize DeFi to your advantage. And learning how to utilize DeFi, right? When you have XRP, so imagine this, right? You have XRP, and then you deposit your XRP on a single-sided because unlike any other ecosystem, you can do single-sided liquidity pool
Hmm.
deposit. You deposit your XRP in this liquidity pool, sorry,
Yeah.
that is deposited to a stable coin, right? Which keeps it stable. Okay, so for example, RLUSD.
Hmm.
Okay, well, then you don't have to worry about impermanent loss, right? Because that's the reason why people don't use DeFi because I don't want to lose my cryptocurrency. Yes, you have to worry about that called impermanent loss because the valuation goes up or goes down. It fluctuates, right? If it goes down too much, you lose on one end, right?
Hmm.
But if you have your XRP and you're able to single side it, deposit it against this RLUSD, the stable coin, okay, then you get paid in the APY, right? This APY is in a stable coin.
Right.
It's tax free.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
So
Can't wait
that's
for
a
that.
powerful tool. It's decentralized finance. It is the future, right? How you use it will determine the value or growth that you'll grow your wealth. I unfortunately whenever I did it the first time, right, it was a learning curve for me.
Hmm.
Remember I told you my story with Terra Luna and the stablecoin.
Right.
Still that same exact concept, right? But on the XRP ledger, where the stablecoin is not pegged to Bitcoin, the stablecoin is pegged to treasury bond that will always the new treasury bond, not the old ones that are
New system.
doing them. Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
But the new short-term treasury bonds are backed by real world assets such as gold, silver, real estate, cash equivalent, short or repo market contracts, right?
Hmm.
Things that because at the end of the day, look, as much as I know that a lot of us are patriotic individuals, right, and they don't want government and whatnot, I believe that there is a structured way that government can work, but they have to put it in a way on blockchain technology. And you
Right.
have to be transparent, you have to be secure, it has to be interoperable, you have to set up a DAO, right? A decentralized autonomous organization, right? It has to I believe it because you can't just let the world just run wild, I'm
That's
sorry,
how.
but
That's how we. That's the old system. That's the system we're trying to get away from. Right.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
So there has to be a structured system, right? And I feel like that as we progress into this new environment, this new Web3 going into Web5 environment, people will start seeing what I see, right? Because I saw this. 3 years ago, 4 years ago when I got into crypto. I'm like, yo, I even called him my best friend. I was like, yo, bro, because just he voted for the other side, and I'm like, yo, bro, they're gonna restructure the whole entire government. Mark my words.
Right.
I called him up last week and told him I was like, yo, bro, did you hear what they're doing whenever they come in back in 2020 or 2025?
Uh-huh. That's
They
crazy.
got this thing called Doge coming in. He's like, what do you mean with Doge? I'm like, oh, you didn't hear about Elon and what he's looking to
Right.
do?
They're
I'm like, he's about to
liquidating.
restructure the whole entire thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people said about that. A lot of government contractors, a lot of federal government. I mean, it's going down. We
Yeah.
we, we got 2025 is gonna be hella interesting. I stack my
Absolutely.
silver, I stack my XRP. If you watch any of our episodes, at
Right.
least going back 2 years, in our ticker, we have like a ticker that goes across the bottom. I have in there XRP and silver. So I've been talking about this for two
Right.
years at least. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
like that
So
was kind of our first conversations. Like we were just talking about XRP and silver and gold
yep,
and collect, and
yep.
currency and stuff. Yeah.
2.5 years ago, maybe three. So no, this is super dope, man. We appreciate you coming on, dropping these gems,
You got
this
the final question
knowledge.
for Frank or what?
Yeah. Our final question for every guest we have is, what is something that you're trying to figure out now? This could be anything, any struggle you have, something you're trying to figure out, something you're trying to learn. What you got?
I mean, right? Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm learning about life, right? I'm learning about spiritualism. I'm learning about like balancing. I'm learning about tapping into this higher consciousness self that I am very
Okay.
fast, like a very fast pace. I'm not even lying to you. Like this has been literally just months in the process, but I'm doing it at a very fast. I mean, dude, I'm reading, you know, books, every single day.
Bro,
Like,
I'm writing a book. I gotta send you a book. I got a book coming out in a week that I'm writing. I'm gonna send it to
oh,
you. I'm gonna
dope,
send it to you.
dope, dope. I look forward to reading it. Yeah, yeah. Like I'm just so like learning about that end because I was so absorbed into the blockchain side of space that I wouldn't say a robot, but like it's kind of like I had to tap into certain areas to learn. So right now, at least this time period of my life, I'm just tapping into that whole entire spiritual side of me, right?
Dope.
Learning about my astrology, learning about learning about all of the life path, right? The numerology, all of that. And it's a
That's right. That's right.
magical experience that I'm going through, right? I'm connecting with people in the space that I never thought like I would ever, and we're creating such great bonds and friendship. And then I start realizing like, okay, well, once I tap into that, those are my people.
Facts.
Well, we gonna grow together. Okay, what's the next step after that? How are we gonna fix the world together? How are we gonna create our own
That's right.
community? It's like that kind of step process, but it's just that journey I'm taking it down right now, and that's what I'm figuring out. And it's a magical journey, right? So it's truly remarkable, magical. I'm very blessed. I'm very happy. I mean, I think the Lord that every single day that I have, I'm breathing, right, and I have this to be able to
Right.
share this, and most importantly, to share the love with everybody around me.
No, that's huge.
Hey
That's
Frank,
probably the dopest answer we ever got for that. What's up?
what are my two things I say every show? Remain perfectly present,
Hmm.
right? Remaining perfectly present, being in the moment, every moment, and just being in it, being perfectly present in it, and then unify and thrive, right? You
Facts.
got it. When you unify, you connect with your people. You got to thrive together because man, the other side is out there to divide you, keep you isolated, keep you solo, and they want it that way because your power is diminished that way. But when you unify together with like-minded individuals, people in the same heart path, heart vibration, you have no choice but to thrive together, right? So that's yeah, man. You really
That's
talking my
huge.
language right there, buddy.
No, that's
Bet.
super dope. No, well, thank you. So this is a wrap, episode 98. Thank you, Echo. This was super
Hey,
dope. I'm definitely gonna get you. We're gonna be in touch. I'm gonna send you my book. It's supposed to come out in a week. Super dope. But thank you. I'm just gonna, hey, if you don't know about crypto, follow Echo. Oh, where are your socials, people, website,
yeah,
socials, so people can follow you, ask you questions. What you got?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, my social that I'm more majority on is X, right? So it's Echo the Truth. So Echo DA and Truth.
Mhm.
And then over on TikTok, I think my most recent or the one that they did my most recent one that they didn't take down was Echo underscore XRP.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you
maybe something
got a
like
lot. There's so
that.
many on TikTok. You can't tell what's yours,
Yeah,
what's
the
is the
best
same.
bet, like for real, like, and I hate to say because I know I have a big following over on TikTok too, but more so like to avoid the scammers and everything, right?
Oh, they're
Just
going
go over
hard.
to X, and I mean,
Yeah.
I have my website, which is echothetruth.com too,
Hmm.
but X is going to be the spot that I've already made it my home spot, right? Like, and I've grown a large presence over there, so
Thanks.
and please keep in mind if I don't get back to you as far as like. You gotta understand, there's only one person that has so much energy in their life, right? And you're trying to, I have, three, four different projects over here. I have to talk to this person. Like it's like, you know,
Yeah, man, you
there are some
busy.
people that, I know that they have questions and that I would love to answer them all at one time, but I can't. But for the most part, if I can get to it, then I can, right? But for the most part, I try to be there for everyone.
No, no, and I get it. It's hard. You're one person, you know what I'm saying? You're trying your best. And there's so many scammers out there. They are going so hard, especially now with what's happening with crypto.
Hmm.
They are going super hard. You're not the only one. There's so many other influencers, just they have multiple accounts out there. Um, so be careful out there. Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If
Yeah.
anybody asks you for to download a wallet or they want to give you free money or free crypto, just block them because that's not the guy. I promise you. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming through, buddy. And Frank, I don't know if you're busy tonight, but we are doing crypto roundtable with some other guys tonight. You can, jump on our Instagram, YouTube live, right? We're gonna be talking.
Yeah,
You can jump in the comments. I'm sure you can have a lot of questions or some input for us. So if you're available, we'll be doing that tonight at 9 o'clock. If you get
thanks.
a chance to come in and come check it out, kick it out with us.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. It's 9 p.m. You know what I'm saying? We'll be on live. So we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll talk. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
you.
man. Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah.